Oh, now. There we go. Hey, silent author, female writer. How goes the battle? My eyes. Urgh. Hey, Chris. The whole gang is here. Although I do wonder what happened to Bobicus. Bobicus has disappeared. And let me see here. I remembered last stream I noticed someone in the chat named Dinneretta who's never said anything in the chat. And I thought maybe Dinneretta was a bot, and I spent some time Googling Dinneretta and determined Dinneretta was probably not a bot. And then Dinneretta followed. And so now I know that Dinneretta is not a bot. But I also remembered trying to say hello to Dinneretta in Japanese because Dinneretta's Twitch profile has Japanese in it, but it's just hiragana for Dinneretta, apparently. I've just looked it up. I'm so... Bobicus got Thanos snapped? Oh, I hope not. That would be a horrible thing. I understand he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to go. Well, Bobicus is your friend, too. I hope everything's okay. I hope he's just really busy with awesome things. Like the rest of us, who are very busy with awesome things. Alright, so how do I do that? Oh, I see. Now. Uh-huh. Oh, I see. It's just not big enough. And the Tea Crow followed 2 days ago. People, it's weird. People follow when I'm offline, and I'm never expecting that. I suppose it makes sense if someone's browsing Twitch and I'm not live, and yeah, never really thought about it much, but the Tea Crow. Who dat? A fairly new Twitch user, older than me, but a viewer rather than a streamer from the looks of it. No videos, nothing, no schedule. Well, maybe they will show up today and we can say hi. Yeah, it's a bit worrisome, actually. Flashing to a Stephen King scenario. I'm your biggest fan. Oh, it's a bit chilly today. I'm cold and I'm tired and I'm stomach's a bit upset today as well. Not sure why, but I don't feel very good today. You gotta say it with the crazy eyes. So yeah, I've I'm never sure if my stream title updates when I update it or not, but yeah, I'm doing something a bit different today, just for today. I I've realized I've got a bit more planning work and figuring things out work to do on the uh, on the 3-part story. My working title for that, by the way, is Tomorrow. Decided I'm going to call it that for now. I may keep it. I may not keep it. I don't know. But that's that. I was asked for a working title by Dr. I don't know how to pronounce her surname, actually. Abdo, I guess. What's in the box? What's in the box? Um, yeah, Dr. Abdo asked me, Dr. Abdo, Angie, she asked me to provide a working title for the project, so I had to come up with something on the spot, and Tomorrow came to mind, so I'm going to call it that. The nonfiction is the book club companion stuff that I was talking about briefly at one point. I'm in the midst of doing one, and it's been sort of hanging around for longer than I want it to, and I want to get it done. So, the cycle of pain and heartbreak. That's, yeah, call it Science Sucks. Science sucks and then you die, except not anymore. Life's a bitch and then you die. Or do you? Um, a literary novel, a literary fiction novel, I think the title Tomorrow is just pretentious enough. It hints at the idea of like tomorrow and then tomorrow's tomorrow and like all the tomorrows to come and the future, and yeah, it touches on a few things that I think it should probably touch on, so that's fine. But this summary, yeah. Um, yeah, this summary's been hanging around for way too long, and I want to get it out of the way. The other thing is that the 3-part story, I was sort of going over it with that Larry Brooks's story engineering, story structure, the structure part of it in particular in mind, and realized I've got to kind of beat it into a better shape than it's in right now. I was saying last stream or the stream before, I was saying that I'm coming at this story a lot more loosey goosey than I usually do, and it was exhilarating and exciting and stuff. And then I kind of was looking at it and realized that no, I don't like that. I want to know what I'm doing before I start doing it. So I'm going to take a bit of time this afternoon. I meant to do this last night so that I could continue writing on the stream, but it took longer than I had last night. So I'm going to have to continue later. And it's not something I want to do on the stream because a bit dull. And it's the kind of thing that I really, really need full and undivided concentration. And as much as I love you guys, meh. You're a distraction. An enjoyable one, but a distraction. So, yeah, the format for my stream today is going to be a little bit different than usual. I'm, aw. I am going to. Well, I don't know. Can I? No, I don't want to do that. What happens if I throw that to the side and then I wouldn't have thought that my two, I don't know how big these are, 28, 32 inch screens. I think they're 32s. I have two 32-inch screens. Well, and I mean, I'm not exactly unwilling on the distraction front. The merest whiff of an excuse to be distracted by something, and off I go. So this is why, actually, I mean, I've spent a very long time inculcating my family into the idea that when I'm in my office and my door is closed, the door shouldn't be opened unless someone's bleeding and in dire jeopardy of losing a limb. And even then, maybe think twice. Um, Not that it's had any effect on my family, because, it might as well not have a door, actually. Most of the time, it's just in and out, in and out, in and out, especially if my son's home. I have quite a large family, quite an extended family. And I know you know that, so you shan't bait me into believing your silliness. But yes, I have a wife to whom I've been married for 15 years. Yeah, yeah, 15 years. Uh-huh. I've got two sons. One who is 11. Yeah, families are great at ignoring closed doors because, whatever is happening on the other side of that door can't be as important as this thing that I just wanted to talk. Yeah, anyway. It's an ongoing frustration. The biggest thing, the reason and it annoys me to no end, it really, really annoys me. But the reason it annoys me so much is because I don't need the help. I'm terrible at getting into my work and doing things. I interrupt myself all the time anyway, and then having that extra bit of assistance in that regard, it's not, I don't need it. I don't need it, don't want it. It makes me feel guilty for half the time when someone comes into my office, I'm not actually working anyway, and that makes me feel guilty for not working. And then, yeah, anyway. Um, yeah, I've got an 11-year-old son. He is in grade 5 in the Chinese education system, which would be grade 6 in North America. I forget which way it goes. And I can't tell by the subjects because in math, he's learning algebra now. And I don't recall ever learning any algebra in grade 6. Like they're starting on systems of equations, multivariable algebra in grade 6, which has been loads of fun. My wife is not a math person at all. She went to performing arts college and studied voice. She's an opera singer, actually, by education and training. Um, she's about 5 feet tall, ginormous voice. Anyway, yeah, so I've been helping him with his math and dealing with that homework nightmare. Um, and I've got well, crap, now I have to do math. 98. I guess a 23. He'll be 20. Yeah, no, he just turned 23. 23-year-old son from a previous marriage who still lives in Canada. and he's married and has a baby who's a toddler now, I guess. Time flies. So I'm a grandpa too. Yeah. I know I don't look it. I'm so young and fresh-faced, but yeah. So quite a large and extended and complex family, as is the norm these days, I believe. So, what was it? Oh yes, I was trying to figure out how I can, because I'm in the process of doing a summary, a chapter by chapter summary of this book. And so I need the book open in my other screen to go back and forth. And I've got two windows. I've got two monitors. And I kind of want to keep OBS open on one side so I can keep an eye on the chat and be involved with you guys. Well, I suppose I can do that. That works okay. Yeah, that works okay. So chapter 17. The book that I'm summarizing is called The Last Bookshop in London by a writer named Madeline Martin. Which I chose to do as my first Ophania Book Club companion because it was trending #1 overall on the Amazon Kindle store. It is now no longer #1 because it's been like 3 weeks, almost a month since I started doing this. It's just been backburnered. So it's no longer #1, which means that I won't be able to benefit from the search engine optimization goodness that is having the title of a #1 book in your title. I'm nothing if not jaded and cynical. It's actually a reasonably okay book. Light reading. Martin is primarily a romance writer, and it definitely shows in this book. This isn't a romance book. It's historical fiction set in World War II. Reasonably well written. The characters are a bit two-dimensional, a bit flat on the page. Not an awful lot of growth. But it is what it is. All right, so there is a romantic subplot, but it's relatively minor as the rest of the story goes. I keep forgetting I need to change my font size. Is that, how big is that? There we go. Is that better? That's a bit better. This project in Scrivener, I didn't have my project settings set properly the way I like them when I created this project. And I created all my chapter documents at the beginning anyway, because I knew how many chapters there were. And so they're all set up with the wrong, like 9-point Times New Roman, and it's terrible. Anyway. I have to say, I'm really enjoying this keyboard. What did I say about being distracted? I've changed my keycaps again back to the factory originals for now. The ones with the glowy bottoms, they're called pudding keycaps. I I've I don't like them much anymore, which is unfortunate because I bought like 4 sets of them in different colors, so I could mix and match primarily and have like different colored modifier keys like my shift and caps lock and enter and stuff. But the colored ones, they don't work very well unless you stick to just a white background color. They don't. A colored top on a pudding keycap really limits what kind of underlighting you can do, because not a lot of things will look good. Like if you have a red pudding keycap, then you really have to stick with complementary colors to red. Red with purple backlighting doesn't look very good, and the what's it called? The legend, the letter, the character doesn't come through very well. Well, these ones are okay. I mean, just white and black really with an orange escape key. I'm not in love with them either, but I wanted to put them back on and see how they felt. I've, I've really been sort of, I don't know, rolling around in this mechanical keyboard hobby thing for the last week or two. I'm planning on doing a little sort of overview introductory class about mechanical keyboards to publish on Skillshare because, well, I mean, the reason I got into it actually was because I spend a lot of my day, especially now that I'm back into writing regularly, I spend a lot of my day typing. And I'm picky about my tools. I mean, pens, I swear by. Oh, this is a different brand, but it's the same as this one. So these Uniball eye gel ink pens or rollerball pens. They're what's the model number? UB150. They're almost exactly the same as these Snow White needle roller pens. They write the same. Oh, hold on. Focus, you dagnabbit. There. These Galaxy Snow Whites. The difference, these have a needle point, which you can't see because my face is visible. Anyway, whatever. These are a needle point, and this is a ball point. They write very similarly. They lay the ink down very similarly. Well, I mean, yeah. I'm to be brutally honest with myself. My tool obsession is really just another distraction. I could write just this. Well, not maybe not just the same, but I could write effectively on any old keyboard. Well, except maybe one of them Apple chiclet, no feedback, like banging your fingers on a piece of wood kind of keyboards. I really despise those. But no, I don't. I put it away. I still have my first mechanical keyboard that I bought some years back. It was a pre-built board. It had Cherry MX Brown switches on it, although I thought it had reds. And then when I eventually took the keycaps off, I realized they were browns. And I liked it. It was far and away better than the rubber dome, like, throwaway $10 keyboard I had been using. It was much better. Felt so much nicer. And I haven't really looked back since, but recently I got into custom keyboards. Like, this is a jar of switches, of mechanical keyboard switches. These are Gateron Browns, I believe, which are the same as the Cherries, except a bit smoother and cheaper. So, but I recently got more interested in. I can't talk today. I recently got more interested in sort of optimizing the feel of my keyboard, making it as comfortable and as nice for me to type on as possible to suit my typing style and my my feel. I realized that, I bought this one. This is the one I was using a week ago. A week or two ago, this one. It's a full-size keyboard. I've always used full-size keyboards. A full-size has the number pad on the side. And I am quite used to having that number pad whenever I go to enter a number, or my my pin for Windows, or and it's so my hand still goes there automatically. Then I have, because this keyboard doesn't have a number pad. It's a it would be a 10 keyless. It's called, because it doesn't have that 10 key on the side, the numpad. And then I have to go back up to the number row and enter it the other way. But I was finding that my trackball was too far away, too far off to the side, and it wasn't comfortable for me the way it was set up to use both my trackball and my keyboard at the same time. So I thought, maybe I should try a 10 keyless. So I got me one of them, and it's much better. Just my desk setup is much better with that. I find it much more comfortable. My typing has improved dramatically just because my keyboard is in the right spot in front of me, centered on the B with the home row, all that stuff. So I can reach all of the keys more comfortably. I kind of don't know if I like these keycaps or not. They're a bit slidey. They're a bit smooth and slidey. Yeah. So I've got, right now I'm using this. This is the Keychron C1. And it's solid. It sounds okay. I mean, this is the thing, like, as I've been getting more interested in and, digging deeper into the mechanical keyboard world, there are some people who take this stuff very seriously, and pay attention to things that really don't affect me at all or bother me. So, I mean, I certainly understand why someone might look at the bags of keycaps and the little canister of switches and the 2 or 3 keyboards I have sitting around in my office that I don't use, but plus the one that I do use, and roll their eyes and say, yeah, it's a bunch of faff. I understand that. I'm watching YouTube videos when they're building new keyboard builds or testing out new switches, and they're doing sound tests, and they're listening, and they're taping the bottom of the circuit board in their keyboard with like painter's tape to try and change the sound of the keystrokes. And it's like, I don't care at all about the sound. One of the other reasons I decided to switch was because that other keyboard with the number pad is not hot swappable, which means in order to change the switches on it, I'd have to desolder the switches that are on there, pull them out, and then solder all of the switches. And it's like 110 keys, which it would take all day. And I'm not that good at soldering. Well, I suppose I probably would be by the time I was done. So I couldn't really try out any other. Actually, is it? Or is it hot swappable? I forget. Anyway, but I was looking into switches, and for me, the sound wasn't that bad. That one has blues on it, has Cherry MX blues, which are clicky, very loud, very noisy. I remember I mentioned it on the stream a while back. It's too much, too noisy, too loud. Mostly because, it honestly still doesn't bother me, and I didn't mind the feel of the switches. They typed okay. There's a little bit of a tactility to them. You can tell when you press the key, it gives you some feedback. The sound didn't bother me per se, but I do a fair bit of writing at night after my son goes to sleep, and he's in the room next to me here. So I was concerned that it was loud enough that I might keep him awake or wake him up. So they had to go. Those switches were no good for me. And I started doing some research into other switches, and I discovered a particular switch called you can see them at the bottom there. See if I can. No, I probably can't work one down. I've got 4 or 5 extra ones at the bottom of this canister. See that the pink one. Oh, let me see if I can. Okay, now we're in focus. If we come in slowly, it should maintain focus. Thank you, Sony, for your autofocus. So there's all those brown ones in there. Then the ones with the sort of the pink color. Those are not Gateron switches. Those are drop halo trues. And the funny thing about drop halo trues is that they behave differently than any other switch that I was able to find information on. They have a fairly light activation force, which means you can depress them to where they engage, to where the switch connects fairly easily. It's about a 55 gram activation force, which is a medium weight switch. I mean, you're not really having to hammer on them, but it's not like breathe on them funny and they'll register a letter. And I found like the Cherry MX Browns I find a bit too light for me. I mistype a lot of keys just because I brush the wrong key and it registers. So I do and I type heavy. I have heavy hands. I type heavy, so I prefer heavy keys. Okay. So it's 55 grams, which is mid-range. It's not the heaviest switch you can get, but it's far from the lightest. But then the bottom out force, after activation, the spring kicks in more, and the bottom out force is about 100 grams, which is quite a lot heavier. So the idea is that it sort of helps to prevent you from bottoming out your keys. So like you're not smashing your key into the back end of your keyboard every time. That being harder on your fingers and on your hands in terms of strain in typing, and harder on your keyboard as well. So I do tend to wear keyboards out pretty frequently when I'm writing regularly. So I've read about these Halo True, and I thought, well, that sounds like exactly the switch for me. So I bought some. I went on my old friend Taobao and I bought some. I'm pretty sure they're fake. I'm pretty sure they're knockoffs. This being China, they may or may not be made in the same factory that the real ones are made in. They're manufactured by Gateron. There's like 3 or 4 companies that make all of the switches for keyboards, under various names and brands and designs and whatever. But there's only a handful of manufacturing places that make these things. So I suspect knockoffs. They were a quarter the price of the ones that I'm pretty sure were real ones on Taobao from a couple of shops. There were a couple of shops that were selling a set of 90 for 500 yuan. It's about $100. And the ones I bought were 100 and something. Forget how much exactly. Less than 150 anyway. Or around 150. Something like that. So, a quarter the cost, less than a quarter the cost. So probably not real. But they feel good. I really like them. I really enjoy how they feel when I'm typing. So I was happy with that. And then I thought, well, but that's, what if I'm, FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. It's really the only, other than a couple like the cherry browns and cherry blues, it's the only switch I've really used. The Gateron browns, which are effectively the same as the cherry browns, but apparently a bit smoother. Not that I can tell when I'm typing, but so I thought, well, I should probably try at least 1 or 2 other kinds of switches, brands of switches. So I've now tried clicky switches, and I've tried tactile switches. I've never tried a linear that I've paid attention to. Linear switches don't have that bump, that feedback, or the click. They're just like gaming keyboards tend to be linear switches. So I ordered a set of budget linear switches from Acco, the matcha greens, which are quite well thought of by a number of people, and not terribly expensive. They were 80 or 90 yuan for the set, so about $20, I would say. And they arrived, and I put them in my keyboard, and I tried them, and I did not like them. You don't feel anything. It's just, meh. I don't like them at all. I like my keys to push back when I push them. I want to feel a bit of springiness in my keyboard. So that answered that question. I research helps. I'm a planner when I write, and I like to know what I'm getting into before I get in. So it shouldn't surprise me that the first specific switches that I order are the ones that I like. I picked them for a reason, I guess. I should trust myself more. What I have done, though, inside a switch. Here, see if I can. I don't know if any of you are actually interested in this or not, but I'll show you anyway. So this is my switch opener. Get out of camera. There we go. And this other side is for a different kind of switch. There's different ways of fastening up a switch housing, and this opens one kind, and this opens the other kind. So inside of this is a switch. I'll get my face out of the way. This is what's inside a mechanical keyboard. Keycap goes on top of there, and you press it and it registers a keystroke. On the bottom of it, it's got those two pins that go into the PCB of your keyboard and make the circuit when the switch is depressed. So very simple device, and I'll show you just how simple. That's where it goes in there. So that has to go there. Oh, are these the yeah, speaking of the other kind, this is the other kind. I haven't opened one of these. I was only opening my MX style. These are Gaterons. It doesn't fit. Why doesn't it fit? Huh. Is it damaged? No. It doesn't fit. Well. What a shocker. Now I could, I suppose. There we go. You can only do it the one way. There. Oh, that's actually much easier to open. So you have 4 pieces to a mechanical switch. And ideally I'd have an overhead camera to show you this from the top, but when you open up your mechanical switch, let me see if I can, there we go. Okay. So when you open up your mechanical switch, you take the top housing off, and oh, you know what, dude, I'm a bit of an idiot sometimes. Doing this in a tiny little window. Hi, nice and big. If I'm going to do this, we're not looking at the writing right now anyway, so. There we go. Okay. So when you open up the switch, the top housing comes off. And inside you've only got 2 parts. Oh, these are lubed. So you've got the stem. This is called the stem. Just a little teeny bit of, oh, come on, focus. Yeah, it wants to grab my face. Okay, so you've got the stem, and you've got you've got the spring, which you can see there, which also comes out. Oh yeah, my lovely fingers. Got cuticle damage going on there. And the spring. And then the bottom housing. And then there's a leaf in there. That's what makes the electrical contact, that little piece of metal there. So that's what's inside a mechanical spring, or a mechanical switch. And that goes this way. Does it go that way or the other way? The legs make contact there, or do I want it this way? I haven't taken one of these ones apart before, so oh no, it won't go that way. So there's only one way it can go. And yeah, these are lubed. All right, that would be why they were so slippery. And let's go this way. Yeah, there's only one way. I haven't taken my switches apart much. Nope, that does not go that way. That has to go this way because that has to have room for the leaf. Okay. Oh, that's no good. I have just destroyed this switch. Okay. Yeah. There, okay. Hmm. There we go. Okay. Now, I did actually break these switches a little bit when I was taking them out of the keyboard they were in, because the keyboard switch puller that I was using, there we go. Okay. Nope. Now it's not returning. So the keyboard switch puller I was using, one, I didn't know how to use it very well, and two, it wasn't a very good one, and it was smushing a part of the switch that it shouldn't have smushed. There we go. Okay. And both the contacts are out. All right, there we go. Anyway, what books are facing out? Oh, those are some of mine. I put them facing out in case someone wants to buy them. Give me a sec, I'll grab them. What I've done, the reason I was showing you all that, what I've done is ordered some different springs, so I can spring switch some switches or spring swap some switches and try some different weights of springs. I got some very heavy springs, so the switches I'm using now are about a 55 gram activation force with a 100 gram bottom out force. And I got some 80 gram straight through springs and some 150 gram springs. So I'll try those out with some switches and see what I think. These two. This is Soul of the Universe. Oh, that always happens, doesn't it? Properties. Filters, there we go. No. Oh, transform, that's where it is. There we go. Soul of the Universe is an anthology of short stories inspired by music. 6 stories by 4 writers. I'm one of them. I think this was the first anthology we published. Yeah, it was the first anthology we published through Anthology Club. This is the anthology where my short story about Sam and Ellis, Sam the brain ship and Ellis her meat man partner, appears. Cover art by Kit Cooper, a very talented illustrator, who I have hired for both of the covers of both of the books that I did the covers for, that I sourced the covers for, I suppose. This one, Human 76, is... I actually kind of love the story behind this book even more. This is a post-apocalyptic... I look different now. Why? Because I shaved? I clean up nice, yeah. Because I've got a full head cam. Yeah, I was showing some switches and things. This came about solely off the back of a photo shoot that... So, yeah, there's a group of us that were all sort of mutual friends, writers, a group of writers that were all mutual friends on Facebook. Largely the same group of people that were involved fairly early on in Anthology Club, spread out around mostly the UK and the US. Because I changed sides. Yeah, I'm back. I don't like that. It confuses me. I'm not spatially aware. Yeah, the my story in the Soul of the Universe was inspired by Led Zeppelin's Achilles' Last Stand, but just the first like 30 seconds of it. Human 76, one of the ladies in our group of mutual friends. Yeah, it came out of a private Facebook group that someone had set up a while back for artistic types to hang out and be artistic in. And then that group was the seed for provided the seed, the core group of people in the Anthology Club when I started that. But one of the women in that group, she and her family, on a bit of a lark, did a little family photo shoot where they dressed up in, post-apocalyptic cosplay costumes that they made. Really, as you can see, effective ones. Kind of cool looking stuff. I don't know how much effort you'd put into like the colors and stuff if you were really living in a post-apocalyptic world, but there's some other pictures there. So they did this photo shoot as like for their yearly family photos kind of thing. They thought they'd jazz it up a bit and go post-apocalyptic. And she shared some of her photos with us in the group, and of course, the group being the group, we said, "Hey, you know what? That looks like a pretty good setup for a novel or a collection of short stories." So a bunch of us, I forget how many of us. Hold on, let me look. I counted this up a while ago, but it's hard to say because some of us wrote more than one story. I wrote 2 for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 stories with a prologue and an epilogue. 16 stories. I should read it again. It's been a while. Alex Brightsmith. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 12 writers, and then the model for the cover. 12, 13, 14, 15. I can't be the only one who wrote 2 stories. Anyway. Yeah, so it's a shared world anthology. There's a loose narrative thread that's followed through. Kudos to Mike Wombat, the editor of actually both of these. Although this was actually edited by Mike Wombat and Miranda Kate, who is no friend of mine. She and I had a falling out some years back. Won't go into that, but yeah. Yeah, the narrative thread, the premise for the shared world anthology is that the main character, Gabby, and her little sister, whose name I can't remember. Yeah, Gabrielle, and I can't remember the little sister's name off the top of my head. Anyway, they have psychic ability. They're mutants. They have psychic abilities. And they were being experimented on and escaped. And then the little sister has been captured or kidnapped her. Anyway, Gabrielle is on a quest to rescue her little sister from the bad people. basically. And boy, does she. So yeah, it's a it's a good book, actually. I remember, I haven't read it for a while, but I know that it is a good book. I enjoyed almost everyone's contributions. I mean, you never really enjoy all of the stories in an anthology, but I didn't dislike any of them strongly. So, and most of them I quite enjoyed. Oh, pardon me while I do that. So, yeah. Yeah, the post-apocalyptic thing was fun. It really came out organically. It's one of the reasons I like it as much as I do, is because it generated itself quite organically from just a group of friends sharing some photos and some creative pursuits. And I like that. I really like that. And to be fair, and I'm tooting my own horn a little bit, but had I not started the anthology club and had we not had that experience in putting out 3 anthologies previously, I don't know that it could have happened. It certainly would have been much less likely to happen. So I feel proud about that. I feel, but not in the hubris kind of way, but I look at those things that we did as a group, and I feel good about that. That kind of pride. And I think that's healthy pride, isn't it? It's amazing what you can accomplish with a group of good, not good people, but a group of driven people, I guess. Well, why is that then not? No, that's not what I want to do at all. Meh. Okay, let's do that then. And where is? I want that. Yeah. Reformat. So there we go. You don't drive? Okay. Me neither these days. Nowhere to go anyway. everything's locked down, shut down. So, yeah. Oh, that whole keyboard thing started with my about to mention that I've ordered a higher quality set of keycaps of regular non shine through, non pudding keycaps in a red and black colorway. That should be here today. So my keyboard will look different again in next stream. I also bought a large fake leather, like that plastic, that pleather stuff, desk mat for my table, my desk, which will hopefully help me keep my desk sort of nicer and more organized, which should be here today as well. What else? Springs are coming today, the desk mat. My keycaps are here today. I replaced some old USB cables for things. There we go. With pretty colors. I got blue. I got red. It's a nice bright red color. So hopefully that'll also help me keep my desk more organized, because I can find my USB cables more quickly and keep them out of my way. Ow. More of the time. Oh. My goal is to become more organized and tidier about my workspace, because at the moment it's a bit of a mess. So I'll have springs to play with later today or tomorrow. I'll have my desk mat so I can organize my desk. And a desk mat doesn't really help organize things, but it'll keep a nice smooth space, and I can write on it directly on the paper instead of needing a clipboard. And yeah, that's the plan anyway. Actually, tell you what, I'm going to be right back. Much better. Is that, have you settled upon a name for the second one? Is Rose and the other one, right? Was, can't remember again, I'm sorry. Realize I've never shown you my hood. I'm a reindeer. Grr. Yeah, to be fair, most of the reviews are from friends who either are in the anthology or who are in the same group of writers who were in the anthology. There are some reviews from people that are unknown to any of us, as far as I know. But they're good books. Both of them are. The problem with anthologies is that the styles of different writers don't always dovetail nicely. Meaning that you might like one or two out of, if there's like say 5 authors, you might like 3 of them and not really care for 2 of them, which makes it hard to market and sell. Anthologies are hard to sell. Anthologies of unknown writers are really hard to sell. I mean, anthologies like, the greatest short stories of all time, blah, 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 those kinds of things sell because people want, best ofs, compilation albums, that kind of thing. But an anthology of stories by a bunch of writers you've never heard of, it's not a good gamble for most people, I don't think. So, Nexus, that's the one. Except Nexus is a new name again, because that wasn't the name on Friday. So Rose is no longer a time traveler? Do I have? I don't. Okay. That's what I remembered from last time, but things seem to change, so why is that? One thing I'm going to have to do because, well, one thing I'm going to have to do is go through all the tutorial videos and the user's manual for Scrivener 3. I think that I went through the manual for Scrivener 1.9 or whatever I was using before. But that was a long time ago, and I don't remember a lot of it. And there's a bunch of stuff about this new version I just really don't know. So, here, let's do this. And cover. Yeah, that's where that goes. And existing file. A quiet sounding woman. Okay. I know the Literature Latte have I don't know if they're official tutorials, but in the help menu there's a link to some tutorial videos that I was meaning to go through. I may do that this afternoon if I can find the time. If I can slice out the time anyway. All right. Assets, graphics. Down. There we go. Oh, okay, I can just do that. Don't need that. This is the cover that I made for these Ophania Book Club companions. Yeah, one of the things I want to do for sure is go over the basics and how to do the structure and the compiling, because compile in Scrivener has always been complex, and they've changed it now. You don't need the little Amazon KDP plugin DLL anymore, and that apparently it's different now. So I need to really figure out how to use it properly this time, because I didn't last time. Juliet Boyd. Okay, I shall look that up. Thank you. Scrivener manual, interactive video tutorials, and that links to video tutorials. So the problem for me is that I don't have a lot of patience. I suppose that's a problem. And so like a lot of the basic, like how to use the file menu kind of stuff, I find that really tedious and I lose patience and then I go do other things. So, I'm curious about my word count on here. Statistics. 6,000 words? Meh. All right. That's not too bad. And I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Call it 6 chapters of summary to do. Yeah, I will absolutely check that out. I'm going to write it down. I could just copy and paste that into YouTube and find her, but Juliet Boyd. So 6,000, probably around 10,000, but it's 300. So 200, depending on the chapter, we're looking at 250 to 300 words. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8,000 words. And then I want to do basically a review essay, which is probably around 2,000 words, I would say, 1 to 2. So yeah, we're over 10,000 words. It's not super long, but that's kind of the point. Is that... Actually, we'll do it this way. There we go. Oh, okay, so I don't need that. That's... I was thinking I needed a review, sort of a more formal review of the book at some point. But that's about the last bookshop in London. Serves that purpose. I may want to expand that a bit, though. But that's not really a review. That's more of a overview summary. Well, maybe I will actually. Put that there. All right. Final thoughts. I don't know what I was planning to put there, but it's... yeah, it's a light read. I don't... I seem to remember you... Was it you that was saying that you're not a particularly fast reader? I am. It took me 6 hours to read that book. I know because I timed myself. One of the other things I've been doing lately is tracking my time as much as possible to sort of see how long things take. Anything that I plan to earn revenue from, I want to know how long it took me to make the thing, and then I can sort of figure out how much I've made per hour of the work that went into it. And not for any reason other than curiosity, I suppose. Although across multiple different types of projects, I like to know which are more effective. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, it's not a particularly long book, and it's an easy read. It's not challenging as a read. Martin's style is accessible and fairly straightforward, which is unsurprising coming out of the romance writing world. Yeah, it was an enjoyable read. I enjoyed it. It's not the kind of book that really kind of stays with you or has a lasting impact in any kind of deep emotional way. Like I said, the characters are fairly one-dimensional. I said two-dimensional. That might have been generous. They're pretty flat as characters go, pretty unnuanced and uncomplicated. The main character there's no real character growth or character arc to speak of, and her best friend is very much a Mary Sue. The male, the love interest kind of character is a Marty Stew, if I've ever met one. He's, tall and handsome and intelligent. He's an engineer. He volunteers for the RAF to defend his, for God and country and all that stuff. And he's an avid reader and introduces the main character to books and to literature. And yeah. So initially, upon having just finished the book, I was quite up on it. I really I really enjoyed it, and it was a fun read, and I was happy and everything, blah blah blah. And then the more I think about, as I've been sort of thinking about the book and writing this summary, the characters really do fall flat. The story itself is lovely. It's nice. It's enjoyable, predictable. I mean, there are no big surprises or twists. And like I say, the characters at the end of the book are much the same as the characters at the beginning of the book. Really, I mean, the only real difference in any of them, the main character is more confident in herself. That's about it. It's the only real growth. Yeah. So, worth reading. Like I said, it's a quick read. I think it was priced competitively as well when I bought it, so I don't know if it still is or not. I think it's dropped. It's still in the top 100 on the Kindle list, but we're talking about 98 instead of number 1 at the moment. So 2-3 weeks can make a huge difference, I suppose. Like I say, good read, a nice light read if you have a weekend. But the purpose of what I'm writing now is sort of, anyone who's got a group of friends who's read the book or who are reading the book, like book club or unofficial book club, the kind of like around the water cooler, like, oh, did you read that book? Kind of discussions. It's the summary part is to, if you are reading this as part of a book club, seems unlikely for this book, but possibly, who knows? If you've read the whole book and you're talking about, like, say, this week in book club we're up to chapter 11, so we're talking about like chapters 8 through 11. Well, you might want a quick little reminder about what happens in those chapters. Well, that's what the summary is for. Got some boilerplate stuff that goes at the beginning. Got some blurby stuff about the writer, the author, and the book, the summary. And then I'll do a book review here. And things to think about is sort of like what themes and elements from the book are worth talking about. And there are some in this book. The characters are named for traits, very obviously. So the main character's name is Grace, and she handles everything very smoothly and with aplomb and I mean, maybe not under the surface so much. It's kind of like a duck on water, right? All serenity above the water line, and those little feet are just to go in below. But and her best friend's name is Viv, and she's full of life and energy and zest and zeal and all those things. So I mean, a little on the nose in the naming, I suppose, for me, but that's something that's worth discussing, or at least bringing up and noticing. They use there are one of the more commonly used words is brave. Brave and courage are both used quite a lot in the book, and that's worth pointing out and noticing. I have a little mind map I put together. Themes: self-image, bravery and courage, escapism. I mean, it's a love letter to books more than it is anything else. But there are themes of escapism in the book besides just the books as a respite from the horrors of war. Respite. It depends how American or British I want to be, I suppose. As a Canadian, I get to choose. So, there are moments in the book where characters decide it's better to know the truth than to tell yourself a comforting lie, and there are other moments where characters decide to go with the comforting lie instead of acknowledging the truth. So that's something that's perhaps worth discussing in the book. The importance of community. There are many times when, the day is saved, or at least the damage is mitigated by the coming together of community, even those sort of edge case outsiders that don't get along with everybody or anybody. And obviously, one of the big themes is the theme of loss. So there's a fair bit of stuff to talk about there. And the idea behind the book club companion books is to provide people without a background in literature with some of the tools they might need to discuss a book with other people, and to give them a bit of a blueprint. It gives them some ideas to use if they have trouble expressing their own ideas, or if they can't think of anything to talk about. This gives them some things to talk about, if nothing else, and gives them a bit of a blueprint for identifying other things that they might have noticed that might be worth bringing up or talking about too. So I don't know how many anti-heroes Tolkien had, really. Most of his characters were fairly uncomplicated and in one camp or the other. Anyone who was sort of straddling a fence ended up being on the wrong side of things for the most part. Saruman, Theoden, by way of Wormtongue, I suppose. I mean, you've got Boromir, I suppose, who's conflicted. Faramir is not, although Faramir succumbs to depression and despair later. Aragorn is definitely not conflicted. It's an interesting thing with Tolkien. If humans are the only ones that are allowed to be complex and multifaceted, elves are elves, and dwarves are dwarves, and orcs are orcs, and the fighting Uruk-hai are the fighting Uruk-hai, and hobbits are hobbits. And they all are very simple and straightforward in what they are. No spoilers for a book that came out 100 years ago, sure. But yeah, humans are the only ones that are really complicated in any meaningful way. The Ents are very driven towards one clear purpose. The wizards, for the most part, other than Saruman, who is a corrupted wizard. So I like complex characters. Tad Williams did a good job in the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series with elves who are not uniform and monocultural, I guess, where they're people. They disagree about things. They have personality. They are individuals at the end of the day. I mean, Terry Pratchett sort of mocks that element of a lot of fantasy, Tolkien included, in his books, with the way the dwarves go nuts over gold, and the only lyric in any of their songs is the dwarven word for gold, and they all have beards, even the women. And he uses a lot of that to explore, complex human issues like, gender roles and societal norms and things like that. But the idea that all dwarves are effectively the same and greedy. I don't recall there being any elves in the Discworld, but there are dwarves. So yeah, I like complex elves too. I like complex characters in general. I want characters to feel like real people that I now know. So, all right. So my goal for this stream was to finish at least the summary part of this and maybe make some headway into the analysis part of things. But I want to finish this today, and move on to other things. So I'm going to get some work done on this. All right. But I'm on chapter 17. Ah, yes. Well, yeah. There were complex characters back then, too. Tolkien just wasn't the source of a lot of them, I don't think. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of Tolkien, but Tolkien wasn't at all about character. That wasn't his thing. He wasn't a writer. That wasn't his vocation. He didn't feel any major pull towards writing, I don't think. Although he ended up, I mean, he's a Cambridge graduate. I think he went to Cambridge. Oxbridge. He was, yeah, of that tradition anyway. And so of course he wrote, but he wouldn't have thought of himself as a writer. He was a linguist. The whole Middle Earth, all of Middle Earth was basically a playground for him to invent languages in. So, and to explore allegory. And I know he's on the record as saying that the Middle Earth trilogy is not allegory, but nonsense. Of course it is. It wasn't only allegory, and it was certainly much more interesting and complex than it was allegorical. But you can't tell me it wasn't allegory. So yeah, he wasn't a writer. His world building is unmatched, in my opinion, before or since. But yeah, if you want character work, Tolkien's not your place. Tolkien's not your boy. I'm trying to think who would I point to in. Well, I was gonna say in the fantasy bailiwick, but anywhere really, I suppose, for character. Robin Hobb comes to mind. Tad Williams comes to mind. Wells for character? Yeah, possibly. I think I might have to reread some of his stuff with that in mind to be able to comment intelligently on that. But I do know Robin. I remember Robin Hobb's characters as being very well done. I believe it's the Farseer trilogy, or maybe it's more than a trilogy. I don't remember the Farseer series. Are we back? We got it? Okay. Wow. I don't know what the hell happened there, but I noticed that our silent friend Dinneretta is here. Dinneretta, konnichiwa. Genki desu ka? I don't actually know if you're Japanese or not, but you've got Japanese on your profile, so. あなたは日本人ですか? That's actually about the extent of my Japanese these days. I've just realized it's all gone away. What was I saying? What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, Poe. Poe is, I don't know how much of that got cut off. I was saying that when I think of Poe, I think of atmosphere and setting and mood more than I do. I can't think of a single character of his that stands out in my memory. Um, mm, Pratchett. Pratchett's characters really, really stand out. They really stay with me. Discworld. Um, yeah, Lovecraft definitely not a character guy. Um, having recently read a whole bunch of Lovecraft, I'm here to tell you he is not a character. He's not a writer for character, not at all. His characters are all completely interchangeable. Um, yeah, no, not a character guy. Again, him and Poe both very mood, atmosphere, that kind of feeling setting kind of a writer, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just, yeah. But yeah, Pratchett's characters are, they stay with you for sure. Um, I was planning to do a podcast with another gentleman. I think I mentioned it a few times before, where the plan was to read through the Discworld series, which sits behind me. Yeah, yeah. Certainly managed to add some complexity to characters in a genre that wasn't well known for having complex characters. Absolutely. Um, well differentiated characters with personality who are individuals. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Stan Lee for sure as well. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't heard from that guy, the podcast partner, in a couple or 3 weeks now. I mean, we weren't particularly great friends anyway. I mean, I wouldn't have expected to hear from him most of the time. Anyway, he had contacted me asking about some equipment, like what equipment I would recommend for doing voice work. He was thinking about getting into voice work, or he had bought some equipment and wanted to know my opinions on it, or did he need to upgrade it, or was it adequate for what he wanted to do, stuff like that. And I said, oh, if you're interested in doing voice work, maybe you'd be interested in doing a podcast with me, because I'd been sort of sitting on this idea for a couple of years and I couldn't find anybody willing to do it with me. And it's the kind of thing that that particular kind of thing I would really rather do with someone else. I don't know that I could carry that kind of a podcast or show solo. It's kind of like the origin story of Mythbusters. Jamie Heineman realized that he didn't have nearly enough personality to carry a whole show by himself, so he contacted the biggest personality he knew, Adam Savage, and the dynamic duo was born. But I know he's quite busy with a bunch of stuff, and I'm very busy with a bunch of stuff, and so it seems like that's not likely to happen. What I might do instead is do a book review podcast, which would tie in with these book club companion books nicely. And I can double, triple up. So I can do the companion book and I can do a book review of the book. And then I can go through and read the whole series by myself and do those up Yeah, except Han Solo isn't Solo. He's got his longtime life partner, Chewbacca. Oh, what's going on there? That looks like I might have had some deliveroos. What has been delivered? Yesterday. So that's the one from yesterday. Okay. Reminding me of that. And then 9668, which is... What is that? Oh, no, hold on. No, Han Solo did not die alone. Han Solo died with his family, with his son. Sorry, more spoilers? I was looking at the wrong thing. 1340. 1340 is my desk mat, which is here. I might just have to go and get it. I really want my desk mat. Shh. Maybe not everyone has seen that. Spoilers. If I'm going to get chastised for spoiling Lord of the Rings, the movie adaptation of which came out damn near 20 years ago. Sofacal. Are you a bot? Are you a bot, Sofacal? I bet you are. I'm gonna search you. I'm gonna search you and find out. Yeah, you are. You are a bot. Nasty bot. Which books, which series? Female writer. Discworld or Lord of the Rings? You're a Decepticon silent author. I know. I can tell. Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's... I never recommend them, the books. I never recommend them to people. I figure anyone who's likely to enjoy them will have picked them up on their own already. it's not like it's not like I need to bring them to anyone's attention, I suppose. And I think most people who are accustomed to modern fiction will have a hard time getting into them. I don't know how I managed. I read Fellowship of the Ring before I started school. I think it was 4 or 5 when I read Fellowship. I read The Two Towers in grade 1 and Return of the King either in grade 1 or grade 2, I forget. But in grade 3, my grade 3 teacher, her son was doing a master's degree in Tolkien at some flaky, hippy-dippy university in California. And so she was all of a sudden big into Tolkien. And she decided that for story time for the entire year, she would read us The Fellowship of the Ring. And I'd already read it, which she wasn't expecting. But watched a few movies in the Good Omens show. Yeah, Good Omens. I've started watching the series. I've read the books. The book. I think there's a sequel to the book that I don't remember if I read or not. But Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, phenomenal pairing that. The Discworld movies, I haven't cared for. They really sort of prove the old adage that the book is better than the movie, and they do it in a very unflattering way for the movie. Having read the books, I don't find the movies watchable even. I can't. I just can't do it. It doesn't match. It doesn't measure up in any way. I think the series, the Good Omens series, is very well done. I just haven't really. It hasn't been near the top of my to watch list, and I don't have a lot of time for watching these days. So it's sort of stayed mid list and floated around as other things have gotten moved above it. I do really recommend the Discworld books. I really recommend them. They're easy reads. They're pleasurable reads. And they stay with you. They really stay with you in a good way. Make you think about a lot of things. All hail Lord Mega. Reconnection success. So I'm dropping connection again. What time is it? It is coming up on 11. You know what, kids? I think I am going to call it a day. The internet's acting up pretty badly all of a sudden. I don't want to have to keep fighting with it. And my desk mat is here, so I want to go get it. No, I think it's just internet congestion. To be honest, it's hitting 11, which means my wife is probably becoming a lot more active, a lot busier on her phone, posting things to her multiple groups and getting ready for the 12 o'clock things go on sale. She does online sales, and the app she sells things through, they have new items hitting the store at noon and at 9 p.m. So those are her two busy times during the day. And she has an iPhone, and iPhones tend to hog a lot of the bandwidth unnecessarily for some reason. I've noticed that when I'm looking at my network traffic. iPhones don't play nice. What a surprise, an Apple product not playing nice with anything else. God, I hate Apple. Anyway, yeah, I think I got only one sentence written in this, but distractions, right? I think I might go grab my desk mat and clean up my office a little bit and then finish this thing with some concentration. Yeah, it's off. Anytime you guys show up, it's a good stream. Not always a productive stream. In fact, very seldom a productive stream. That's something I think I might have to work on a little bit. But a good stream. Next stream, I will have a much better idea of where I want to go with that 3-part story, and should be able to crack out some words on that. And that next stream will be in 2 days' time, on my Wednesday. Everyone else's Tuesday evening, I suppose. So, yeah, thanks for stopping by and chatting and keeping me company. And if you're watching on VOD, don't forget to follow the channel so that you can be notified when we go live. And if you're watching on YouTube, all the dingly dinglies down there, hit the bell, all that stuff. You know what to do. Not that I'm getting a whole lot of love on the YouTubes, but that's not why these go to YouTube anyway, so it's fine. Yeah, cool. Well, take care of yourselves, and I hope everyone has a productive day writing and getting stuff done and has an enjoyable time. See you next time. Oh, every time my focus is in a different window and my hotkeys don't work. Anyway, see you later. What the actual tarnation is going on there? My video's not playing. I wonder if some of these problems are related to OBS puking. All right. Well, I guess it'll have to stream the frozen frame. See you next time. See you next time.